Hi everyone, welcome to one of my tutorials. Now, normally my tutorials are based purely on Disney Infinity. It's a game me and my family love to play, but this particular level that I'm going to show you could either be built in Minecraft or physically built with actual Lego pieces. Uh, and we're using Poe here at the moment, but basically what we've done is we've created this Imperial base. And you'll see a nice little hangar. I'll try to make it look something a bit similar from the latest Star Wars films, The Last Jedi, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but I promise you no spoilers. But what we're basically going to do here is I'm going to show you how to build this Imperial base. And there is no programming logic. Now, most of my clips always show you program inside and how to do quite complex little triggers. This one purely is a building exercise, so very simple. And I thought just for the end of the year, just for Christmas, we will build just a very basic level that anyone at any age can build. And what we're going to build is this. That's right, we're going to build a Death Star. It's taken me a while to finally get there, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys have probably tried to build one of these as well. But I wanted to get a Death Star that was the right size for Disney Infinity. Now, this Death Star size on a diameter basis, it's got 45 stages to it, so there's 45 levels with it, each level of these bricks. Now, I've tried different levels. I've done a 32 level size, which is slightly smaller. I've done larger ones. I even tried to do a massive Death Star, which was 100 in diameter. But what I found was that the Disney Infinity memory couldn't cope with it, and I got to about a quarter of the way through, and then things started to crash. So I did smaller level plans for 75 and found they still didn't work. And the best level for Disney Infinity is 45. But I think with Minecraft and other stuff, you could create larger Death Stars. Now, the larger the sphere, the actual smoother it looks. And so this is as big as I could get it. And I wanted to make sure you had like that diameter at the front, that Death Star weapon at the front of it. But that's what we're going to actually build. We're going to show you how to build those stages, and the documents that I've attached at the beginning of my YouTube clip are the actual plans that you can build each layer up step by step. Now, a couple of little differences we need to do in the plans, and I'm going to talk you through this clip, but it's just going to show how we can build this all up. So I've picked Poe. I'll explain in a moment why I picked Poe for this particular clip. So we're now just going to fly out, just have a fly around in our Star Destroyer. So let's punch it. And let's have a fly around. Now, you'll see the Star Destroyers flying around this base, and those are the logic I've used for that. Is the exact one that I've done one of my popular clips. Oops, you see I've fallen off there. But I thought I'd leave that in there so you can see me jump back in. But anyway, you'll know one of my popular clips, which was how to get a Star Destroyers to attack you. Now, all I've got them is if you've watched those, just show you how you can get those through. But I've got a trigger area that when I fly through the base and go through this gate, it sets those 3 Star Destroyers to attack me, so we can now actually have a battle. And we'll have that flying through. So, as I say, there is no logic in this clip today. It's purely on building, right? So everyone should be able to do this over the Christmas break and actually build your own Death Star. And if you've got the plans, you can all sit around together, and the two of you can build it together at the same time. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit also about the new Star Wars film that's only recently come out, so I don't want to give you any spoilers. Yeah, so don't worry, there's no spoilers on there. But The Last Jedi, I wasn't happy. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people that didn't like it. Yeah, a bit disappointed. And I'm not going to go too much into it. I'm going to do a clip later in the new year about the potholes that I found in it. There's quite a few. But those that have seen it, I'm not going to give anything away, but I chose Poe in this level for a reason. And the reason why I chose Poe is that if you see the film, Poe is your like Han Solo type character. He's got some quite good funny lines. He's quite cool, and don't get me wrong, you like him. But there's never once in the film did I worry about his where he was going to be. You definitely don't think he's going to die at all. So I'm not ruining anything there. But if you watch the film, right, and look at the actions that Poe does at the beginning, during the film, and at the end, the bloke should be arrested and locked up for the rest of his life. I mean, he's not just a plonker, he is a reckless person that wants to be either executed for his actions, because he's a disaster, and he costs the lives of hundreds of people, okay? Yet we still think he's okay. So what do you think of Poe, what Poe was like in The Last Jedi? I'm hoping J.J. Abrams saves it. but we'll see how that goes, but not happy with the film. Anyway, let's get back to how we build this, and I'm now going to show you the documents that are attached that you can download from the link. So let's just show you where they are. Right, so you'll see here, I just showed a couple of screenshots. These are document plans, and they're showing you level by level, and you can build each stage of the particular plans. And as you'll see, each stage will also guide you through page 1, page 2, and you'll build the outer rim and keep building it up as you go through. Now it goes all the way up to about 22. And this one goes up to 23, and then once you've got to the end of 23 you're halfway, then it's just the reverse, so then you go backwards on the plans, but it gives you an idea of all the bricks that you could use to build this item. So what we'll do now is we'll just start on a completely blank level, and using that document we are going to build those plans. Now in here I chose these building blocks. Okay, and the reason I chose these building blocks to start with, and I practiced all my clips to start with, was because you can change them to be the Death Star colour. You can't do that with terrain can't do it, but actually if I was going to do this again I wouldn't use these blocks, I would use the terrain blocks. And the reason for that is that when you fly too far away from the Death Star, what happens is the blocks disappear because they're too wide, so the system tries to hold them off. Now it doesn't actually do that when it's a landscape, but it does do it with these blocks, and therefore my Death Star becomes see-through and transparent. And that's only if you fly far enough away and it loses its effect. So I would have actually used the terrain tools instead, so just be aware that's what I would have done. Now when you're building each layer, always work on the perimeter first. So you put the perimeters on, and you'll always use either 2 blocks or a single, 3 blocks or a single block. But you'll see here I'm just building the level 1. So if you've got that document, you'll see here this is level 1, and this is the first part of the base. So that's the bottom of the Death Star, and then we just fill that particular item in. So I was just building the section. So build the outer rim first. Okay, we fill those items in, and then we do the next level. Now remember, the next level is going to be a fraction higher. A number of times I forgot to do this, so we're now just going to fill this in. Becomes quite easy. And like I say, this clip is purely building, and like I say, you could just build this in Minecraft as well. And if you have the actual Lego pieces, you could do that. Because I have to say, one of my my little wishes, you know, if you ever win the lottery, if everyone says, what would you do if you won the lottery? Would I give it to the family? Would I buy a house, do a world cruise, all stuff like that? If I won the lottery, I think one of the first things I would do, while I pondered what to do with the rest of the money, would go and buy a Lego Death Star. I haven't found a reason to justify myself affording one of those things yet, but if money was no object, that would definitely be one thing I would purchase, would be an actual Lego Death Star. But anyone that's got tons of Lego, let me know if you find these plans actually build the actual thing physically in Lego as well, because you can do that in the same thing. Now you'll see here I'm just lining the objects up, and then again, once I know it's 4 records apart, I'm just going to do the outline edge, so we know in this case, looking on, this is to do with plans 45 by 45. Right, I'm actually doing the outer rim first, so with all the things, do the outer rim and then fill them in inwards. So I'm here looking at a document at the same time. I'm not just randomly picking these out of my head. So you'll see the little pauses where I quickly look back down at the document. What am I doing? So we click on here. So they should all match up perfectly. And then we build our levels like so around the side. Now, like I say, if you try any bigger ones, which you can do, I found it just took too long to build. So when I tried the 175, it was taking forever. The 45 one and the 32 were very quick. They actually didn't take. It wasn't too bad a thing to build. What you'll see here as we go through and we build it around. So, and I'm not going to do this for all 45 levels, by the way, just so you get the gist of what we're doing. So let me know, by the way, if you think the documents of use. If there's a particular size document you want, a particular size, I'll add a level to you. I try to do quite a varied range for you if you to pick from. But as I say, look on the YouTube comments or in the actual description of the YouTube clip, and there should be a link to my company site that allows you to download the PDFs. So let me know you find them okay and easy to use. They will take a bit to print out. You can see, look at that, I've missed it here, and occasionally I will do this wrong, and it just makes simple mistakes like that and it messes the whole object up. So don't rush it, don't try and do it while you've got something watching a film at the same time, it doesn't help. Right, so there I've now got the outer rim. Now I can fill in those sections. So go down there on the screen. Right, now we have got I've got more Disney Infinity clips coming, so don't worry. They'll be coming through January now. Now it becomes the Christmas break. I'll get to try and try a few other things out. A couple of you have asked you for some Last Jedi clips, and I'm sure I'm going to do a couple of those on those as well. But there's a fair number of games I need to try and keep playing over Christmas. As we carry on building on here. Right, so we just get this section done. And then we just fill the little boxes in. And like I say, we then just carry on building each of those levels up. Now, a number of stages to this, but what I found was doing here is obviously once we've got a certain width here, and I've put, I think I'll do up to 3 levels. I then get rid of the ground. We don't need the base, but you can't delete the terrain. You need to have the terrain in one of your levels. They don't allow you to not be on the system. So what I'll do here is I'll just fill these in. What we'll do is we'll just build up, but I created the 3rd level, and then what I did is I'll show you in a second, but I get rid of the terrain part. Okay, so that's now got our 2 stages done. Or one last brick to do. There you go. So that's our level. Now we'll do a 3rd level. So just speed it up. I've now added another level in, so you'll now see it staggered up on the screen. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to my terrain. And like I said, this is probably the ones I should have done the level in. Although I can't use the grey colour, but I would have picked this particular these bricks to build. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a terrain option. That's a bit too big, that one. Perfect. I'll get that little terrain. I'm going to just stick that at the bottom of the base. Yeah. And now I've got it at the bottom of the base. What I can do then is I can take the starting point, which is our Disney Infinity logo where we start the level on the screen, and I'm physically going to move that, if I can actually select it, and place that on top of this terrain here. Now that I have a terrain on the map, I can delete the big giant one out of the way, so that becomes quite handy. So if you click on the X button, you can move these, place that into the center, okay, and now once I've got that, I can actually delete the big base out of the way. So now we've just got our Death Star started to build up quite nicely. So hey presto, I've now jumped up to level 10. And the reason why I've stopped here at level 10 is if you go to the guide, when we get to level 11, I'm going to choose one of the sides and go slightly in on the reverse side. So as it keeps on expanding out, I then, for one side, start bringing it back inward. So every time the plan tells me to go outwards, I do it opposite. So just to show you here, on level we were meant to build another brick, and it's meant to go on the outside. Yeah, it's meant to expand out and jump out as the sphere goes round. But on this side only, I'm going to reverse it. So I'm going to put the same logic, same place, but I'm going to mirror it on the opposite side. So what I'm going to do here is that should be on the other side, and then I will bring it back to the normal side. So this is where I change my document slightly. So you can either make a complete sphere, or what I'm going to do here is now build the logic through. So this is level 11. Yeah, as I start moving these out. Okay, now I've got those set up. Now we're back to the normal side. Now I'll carry on going round the rest of the actual level. Yeah, so I'll now speed this round and carry on building, following the plans round and creating the actual shape for the other side. The others all stay perfect, by the way. We don't mess around with those. They still expand out like normal. Yeah, so we're going to do that little option here. But like I said, I build up 10 levels. Yeah, and then it was level 11 I changed it. Now you can do it slightly higher if you wanted to. It just depends how you wanted it to appear. So now you'll see here, we just finished this level up. We've gone all the way around. So we've now done our first part. Okay, so I've gone all the way around the edge now with that one section going in. Everyone's going outside, but this one's going in. So we'll do the next stage. And on the next stage here, we will just now put that out again. So let's bring our bricks down, following the plans. Now if they build up on top, then I have to put them on top. Okay. And we build this all the way up on the screen. Yeah. Which works quite good. Right, so we're now basically building the dish coming inwards on the screen, and I'm now just going to go around doing the outer edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up the clip now. I just put another level in here on the side, so let's just speed it up slightly. Okay, so we've now got our two bricks gone, and you'll see the dish start going inwards. So we'll carry on expanding that there, and we'll carry on just going on this side inwards and the rest of it outside, all the way up to level 21. And at level 21 we're going to stop. So let's get us to that stage next. And if you get to level 21, your Death Star should now be looking like this, where we have the dish going in perfectly, yeah, and we are 2 levels away from being bang on in the middle, yeah, being at a halfway point, so we're almost at the end of our document. Now at this point is where I stop building the outer edge, because I want that Death Star trench going through, you know, the bit where we fly through so we can go into the middle of the base. So we're not actually going to do level 22 or 23 or 24. Right, but that doesn't mean the dish doesn't carry on. So I am actually going to put those in on the Death Star here. So I'm now just going to carry on building the dish. So I'll carry on doing this up for the moment. And while you watch me build this dish here on the screen, I'm going to talk about some game that's going to come out in the new year. Now, if you've been watching my other clips, I mentioned something about in the Paris Games Show this year that Sony were going to talk about Dreams, the new game for Media Molecule, and they didn't do anything, didn't say anything out. But a few weeks ago in the PlayStation Experience, they did have a whole new content on the game called Dreams. Now, the reason I'm bringing up this in this clip, those have not been following it, and sadly it is only for a PS4 game, but I have to say, if you are an Xbox or Wii, this would be a reason for you to convert over. Now, I am dying to find a game on those consoles for me to go back across, and I'm very tempted to get a Nintendo Switch, so don't get me wrong, and I think they are quite good. I love all consoles, so if I could afford them all, I'd have them all. But if you look at the clips, and I will put some clips in the comments of the YouTubes, go check out what you can do in Dreams. Now, obviously, Disney Infinity is a game where you can build your own games. Okay, now in Dreams they've taken it to a whole level. Not only can you build your own games, you can build your own characters, you can build your own music, you can pretty much do everything. And now I watched the clips that they showed, and I have to say I was quite apprehensive, not about what the thing could do, because what the thing could do is amazing, but I was apprehensive, have I got the skills to build it? Now if you look at just what the thing, it's groundbreaking. You actually can build every single thing you want to do. You can build your own VR games. Yeah, that just put it into a whole other world. So check out Dreams if you haven't seen about it, because I can tell you 2018, that is the game that's going to rock. Now I am going to look at obviously doing tutorials on Dreams, but about 10 million other people will do as well. Don't worry, I'm still going to do me Disney Infinity because I still love playing this thing. But I'm definitely going to give Dreams a go, because what I also heard is that if you had a 3D printer, you could build your own characters. So let's just put that into concept. Is okay, there are no more characters you can buy for Disney Infinity, but in Dreams, if you create your 3D character in your 3D world, and you connect a 3D printer to it, you could actually print your own Disney Infinity characters from a PS4. Okay, just take that into your head, because that is flipping awesome. Check out the clips, let me know what you think, put your comments in what you're thinking, but I had to mention it because I tell you, that is the one game I'm looking forward to more than anything next year. I mean, also there's the Crew 2, but let us know what you think. Tell me what game you're looking forward to for 2018, what game you think could be the in thing to play. Like I said, I've played lots of games this year, I've been fortunate to have a good play with them, but I have to say my favourite one, I think I mentioned this in one of the other clips, was I'd have to go with Uncharted Lost Legacy. That was my favourite game. Star Wars Battlefront 2, sadly it just can't. I want to like that game, I just can't at the moment. It just doesn't seem to work. So frustrated with it, disappointed with that one. But I'll still play it though. I'm still trying to get there. But I think I've mentioned that also in one of the other clips, so I'll stop ranting. But anyway, next year, let me know what games you're looking forward to. There's quite a load coming out. Whether you're on the Wii, the Nintendo, Xbox, what game are you looking forward to? I'd say the other one I am looking to, which is on all consoles, is A Way Out. It's a 2-player game. Have a check that clip out as well. That looks awesome. Right, anyway, enough about that. We're getting back to our desktop. So we've now built up the dish, but we've now got our 3 gaps. And now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to carry on building out the level now. Now we can go back on dealing with the rest of the ship. So back to building again. So leaving me my rants about my game. So I'm now going to build that level all the way through. So you'll see that's the gap that I've got through. Now, one thing I was thinking is, how am I going to fit this on? And you'll notice, as I was doing, I realised that when I place the icon, you can see the blocks below become highlighted in red, which means that's exactly where I want the item. So it's a lot easier to quickly see what I wanted. So, well, actually, that makes it quite easy. So I can actually follow that. Instead of reading the map, I can actually use the guides below it, because they fit bang on top. That made life a little easier, I have to say. Right. There we go, here we're building it. Now, I have to say, I did look on the internet and I didn't find many people had made a Death Star, whether I have not searched correctly. So this may be a clip that you guys have all done before. So you've all built this something. Why does it take you so long to do it? So let me know if you think this is a good clip. If you don't, just put you don't dislike it. Just let me know. Like I did it ages ago. I got it to work, or I managed to make this size Death Star to work. Because all my bases, I couldn't make it into an actual sphere shape. So once I found the plans, that's where I thought, actually, yeah, now I can actually make it look like a Death Star. I'm also intrigued, what are you going to use build inside the Death Star? You'll notice here, I'm not going to go too much on the inside. But I'd like to say what you're going to put in. I didn't know whether to use like pipe work or different things, but the way I'm going to use this Death Star is I'm going to use this as my base. So like I did with the Spider-Man level, where we had like a training exercise to go through hoops. I thought of doing a flying exercise, so you have to fly your ship out at a time limit, and using my Death Star as the background, so we could be a pilot for the First Order. So I'm going to use my Death Star for a number of different clips of stuff that we've shown. But again, it was just an idea of how do we get this to do that option. And I'm going to revisit a couple of my old ones. But there you go. We now have our circular base, our halfway point, and that's our gap. And I wanted at least 3 bricks because I tell you, in my clip I made flying through really easy. I can tell you when I practiced that I kept on hitting the edge, so 4 clicks might be even easier if you want to make it larger. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple more levels to that, so you're going to still see the Death Star building in. But it's coming on quite nicely. Right, so let's go and add those levels. So I'm now added to, we're getting to see it being built up. I've just done 3 or 4 parts carried on top, and I've stopped there. Now the reason I've stopped there is that if you just build your Death Star, it's really hard to put the content in because the bricks get in the way. It's really tricky. So now we know we're halfway and what to fill the halfway point in. It's worth now to start filling the inside of your Death Star. Don't build the whole thing, and I'll explain what you'll see why, but it becomes quite tricky. So what I'm looking at here is I want the ledge on the inside. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to make the certain gap, so I wanted to have at least 3 bricks. So using my plans, I looked on here and said, right, I put 3 bricks in, how far back that we've got, and basically from there now to the centre, so from that 3rd brick, theoretically inwards, was 19 squares. Now when I looked back on my plans, things that only went 19th width was actually level 10. Once I looked back there, actually level 10 on my whole plan is the inner circle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create another circle now inside this, and that circle is based on my level 10 box. So if you go to your document and go to level 10, this section here is going to be the inner circle for level 10. Okay, this gives me my little edge. So looking here is I'm not randomly picking the shapes, I'm actually picking the plans off level 10, which keeps everything roughly 3 bricks from the side. So I then jump back to go back to page 10, and the inside circle wants to be that side. And again, I'm going to repeat the same thing again directly above it. So again, square from the inside is going to come in, and then we've got that's a little box. and we'll build this round. Now, I mentioned the reason why I put the Death Star dish is because I think I've worked out how to blow up a planet. So I think that I've got a couple ideas on it and some test stuff, and I actually physically done it. So I was going to do an option where you had to fly in the Death Star. If not, the Death Star will fire, and I'm going to get this Death Star to fire and actually physically blow up a planet. That is one of my plans of a future clip that will come out in the new year. I think we've had a good run. I did my Helm's Deep recently. But I'd say this was the clip that I just, once I worked out how to get the plans sorted, I just was desperate to build the base. And then I got slightly disheartened that every time I went for a larger Death Star, I couldn't actually build it. The memory kept on crashing. So it's like, no, come on. So I was trying to find the right side. So it took longer and longer to do the testing on it. So I've done all the painstaking knowing that if you go for this, it's going to work. This 45 definitely does, and this is proof that it does work. And it leaves you about half the memory free for adding other objects, as well as putting in your activities or your plan for your mission. Right, so there we have. We now have our level going around on the inside. So I'm going to repeat the exact same directly above it, but that gives me my lip. And I want it big enough because I was going to insert turrets there. I haven't done that yet on the clip that I've done. I was going to put the turrets, but we're going to do the same now on the top part. And then we're going to have to fill those in as well. So again, it's not on the bottom. So this is from that section. The other one will be on the ceiling part. So you see, I line it up onto here. So I'm lining it with that particular box. Right, and then you'll see we're directly above the red bricks. And now it's quite straightforward. I can mirror this up quite quickly. So if we speed that up now, you'll see I'm just going through here. We now have our 2 levels done. Look at that. There's our two edges. So what we've got to do now is we've got to start filling these things in. We can fill them in top and bottom. So you fill each of those in top and bottom, go all the way through the list. We're speeding through here now. Don't have to think, it's quite easy enough. And like I said, I'm not too much of a builder in my clips. Mine are trying to show you more programming skills on creating your levels. But I hopefully you'll all like this. I want to build it. Or build your own version. But yeah, let me know what you put inside your Death Star, what type of ideas you came up with, and what stories you're going to use. I'm always interested in what stories you're going to build, because we can't share them anymore. I'm intrigued to see what story you've gone. So let's just now speed this up, because you'll just get bored now. Let's get to this next stage. But as you'll see, the edge now appears on the side, which is not too bad. So hey presto, there's our little lip, right, either side. And that's on the roof as well. And our box is inside, which looks quite cool. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put a couple of things inside the base. So you'll see I've also done the cylinder walls as well, by the way. You'll notice that I've done the edges, so I've actually filled up and made the doorway open. Now what I was doing here is, and this is purely by chance, I wanted to put some sort of hangar area in and use the circle cylinder, but what I found here is if I go to Star Wars Toys, we have our Endor AT-AT platform. And purely by chance you can get 4 of these in, which is quite handy. So I wanted to squish them in. I was going to make them inside, but if I do them in the middle, you'll only get 2. So if I push it one side to the very side of the dish, yeah. So I'll just push that across, so you'll see it touch in. Yeah, and click that in there. Now occasionally when you do that, when I click that in, sometimes because obviously it's not a it's a size 45, it's slightly square off. As I move it across here, you'll notice that one of the bricks wouldn't allow me to do it, like go red, so I couldn't do it, it was in the way. In fact, actually I could have got that in there, I don't know why I didn't click it in. But for some strange reason I went through and I then actually just didn't deleted this brick out, because I thought they were in the way, but they actually weren't. So I cleared those bricks off, but I didn't need to. because it actually does fit in. So let's go back to the platform, twist that round. So there's my platform in, and that actually fitted in anyway. And then I did the 4 boxes, and I get 4 in there. And the reason why I wanted these platforms in, I did like the bridges underneath when you're underneath the side. But again, got to work out what I was going to build inside, and I would actually build all that in now before I did the roof. Okay, I'm just showing you how I've got these sections on the screen, so you can see walking through, you come through on the screen. But if you don't build it, what happens is when we scan down, you'll see, look, the bricks get in the way. As you come back to see what it looks like, you can't see it, and they always, so it's a little bit annoying. So just be careful on that. But once you've got your 4 platforms in, then we obviously need to use some terrain tools. So I'm just going to go to the terrain levels, and I'm just going to now fill in those particular stages. Now I wouldn't do too many levels. I wouldn't like do 15 step by step, because obviously the more you use, look at the gauge down the side. We're going to go to at least halfway of the bricks. So just be aware of that. The Death Star takes half of the memory up. Yeah. But we'll then just put the land terrain tools around the edge, and we're going to just fill in all those gaps. And then we're going to change that to the Imperial Star Destroyer section inside. I try to use many big blocks as possible, if I could say that. And we just build those through. Cool. Right, we'll just speed that bit up as well. So now you see you've got the terrain going in here. Right, so now I've got the terrain around the edges. Yeah. What I can do in here is click on this terrain, and I will change the colours by using the triangle tool, and I will then change that to the Imperial setting. So I can now change my colour tools, right, make it Imperial Space Station, and I can apply that theme to everything, and I can add more bricks into there, and that gives us our base. Okay, so now we can carry on, finish on building. So it just gives you an idea there of how it's going to look. So we can walk straight in. Obviously we're going to carry on building that section up, but what we'll do is we'll speed this up now. But there is our base coming together quite nicely, and we're almost finished, guys. So one thing I was going to show you also is, just before we speed through, is I put inside the base, now I put the ground in, I put some pillars in. And using those decorations, there's some plants that you can use, and that's where you get those bars. So look at my clip called Hidden Objects. It shows you where you get those beams from, how you get those beams. But I put the beams up, so again, that lets me know how high I can go up. I want 4 bricks, that gives you that hangar impersonation. And I used to go rid of some of the circles by putting those cylinder things into like a Death Star part. So I put those beams in. And now I've speeded up to the section now where you'll see some other objects I've added on, where I'm now just putting the roof in as we've gone all the way back onto our base. So I'm building our roof back up. Okay, I'm just now building this back. And hey presto. We're almost there, everything's filled in. You'll see there through the little clip there, I put the ceiling, by the way, I put those hanger holes. So I actually put those as the ceiling, so when you look up you've got those tall towers inside the base, and you can get 4 over those, and I put each one of those above the circular dish, which is quite cool. But again, you can build whatever you like inside yours. So there we go. We've now done all the levels, we've staggered it all the way back up. So we built all the top on of our Death Star. Now our Death Star looks like that, which is not bad. Now all we've got to do is now colour it in. So we're quite pleased with the way that worked. And then we've got our dish. Okay, so let's choose the fill-in option. So I'll speed that through. Right, so if we go into our spark tool and click on one of the bricks, okay, and we go to our triangle for our palette, there is the Death Star bricks. Now these are only on this level, and that's why I mentioned at the beginning clip I chose these bricks. So if you'll see it, there's a where is it, Death Star surface, And I say if I was going to do it again, I wouldn't use this one at all. I would use either the Garden Galaxy color level. Where is it? There you go, Death Star Surface, which is the only one. It's not, so the landscape's not on there, and the reason why I chose this one, but that's what I was thinking the Death Star needed to look like. But I say these bricks, as you zoom away, disappear. So it's a bit annoying where the landscape doesn't. So I tend to just keep the landscape ones on. Now I've selected theme all, and we're going, what's happening? How's it? Is anything happening? Now if I circle out, you'll see here, because there's a lot of bricks, you'll see slowly now they're all just going through, filling them all in, which is not too bad. Now the one thing I noticed here is also, obviously this is going to be in space, so I've got the daylight landscape, makes everything nice and bright and shiny. But what I noticed as I was going through is that I can't actually see the end dish. It tends to get a bit blurred. It staggers in. I want it to look like it was that radial dish, and as it went grey, it just seemed to go quite flat, looked like a cut off a side by accident. So I wanted that to look like it staggered through. So I'm actually, after I've gone through all that, I want to change the inside colour to let the user see that there is a stage to it. And you'll see it's now they're all filling through. It takes quite a while. Just shows you how many bricks you're using. Normally when you do theme all, it goes very quickly, and this is still going through. Now I haven't mentioned this, but I would presume that while you're doing this you are saving constantly. The last thing you want to do is get to this stage and then have the thing crash. So keep saving your levels as you go through. Okay, I save normally like 1 or 2 versions in case one of them becomes corrupted, but keep saving them. Once they're done, then you can delete the other ones off, but just make sure you do save as you go along. Right, there we go. Right, like you see, look, that dish, you can't tell it's a dish, it just disappeared. So I said, right, let's stagger it in and let's change the colour, which at this point you go, seriously, you've got to go through each brick, and it actually only takes about 5 minutes to do the actual colour side. So what I'm going to do is then go to each one of these sides, pick a level inwards, and then colour them in. I thought it was going to take me absolutely ages to colour in, but it wasn't actually that particularly long. Right. So it's not looking too bad. Which I was quite pleased with. So the section here is if I go to the level on this screen, so say you can't see it, I'm going to click on each one of those bricks, and each one of those bricks I'm going to do triangle. Now there was a dark screen. I didn't want Death Star Service. There was like a black screen. But remember, I'm going to put this in space, and it's a bit dark anyway. So I tried steel, and I thought it was too dark. I thought, well, it looks a lot more like black. So then I think the colour I chose is asphalt. And if I go down this list and pick asphalt, it's one of them. Oh, that's the one. That's the colour I chose. It was like a dark grey, and actually it's a lot darker than the colour you see there on the screen. So that was the colour I want. So I went through there, and then I have to go through all the bricks in this little window. So then go to the next one. So right, pick each brick, press triangle, and choose asphalt. And then I can circle, do the next one. I thought, oh, this is going to take me forever. And honestly, this actual section takes no more than 5 minutes. I've cut this down just to speed it up so you don't get bored of me watching. But it didn't actually take as long as I thought it was going to do. I was psyching myself up thinking, oh, it's take me forever. But it actually wasn't too bad. So you'd be surprised how quick you can jump in and out from it. But again, keep saving. Last thing you want to do is it crashes. This is a good air time when things crash with the play. When you jump in and out of colours, that's when it crashes for me. So before you do the colours, start saving. Once you're happy with the set of colours done, then save it. Well, I'll now just speed that up for you. So hey presto, we now have the dish. And now you can see that's what I mean by it now stands out. It now looks quite cool on the screen. Now the only one little downside also with the bricks is that the bricks do have like a hollow edge, so you can see there's like very less light through, so you'd have to like put another layer in inside. But I don't think our Death Star looks too bad. So what do you think? Do you like this clip or not? Let me know. If you don't like it, tell me why you don't like the clip. Don't just say you don't like it. I always like to know how I can improve these items. There are more clips coming in the new year, but let me just say thanks for all your support this year. Have a great Christmas, and I hope you have a great new year. And I look forward to releasing more clips in the new year, guys. Have a good Christmas, and we'll speak to you soon. Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye.